So, hiya, Kelly. So, it is an absolute pleasure and inspiration to talk to you today. Okay.
Oh, thank
So,
you. I'm humbled. I'm humbled.
so before we get started, would
Yeah.
you just maybe give people a little bit of background about yourself?
My name's Kelly Walker. I'm 50, mother of two. I have three grandchildren aging from 10 to 6 months. Um, I've been lifting consistently, probably apart from the last couple of years, about 12, 13 years. And I was into weight training when I lived in London. So in my late 20s, in a sense. So yeah, and then I moved here and life happens and didn't start back up till probably late 30s.
But you've been quite consistent on and off, or consistent, would you say?
Consistent the last couple of years, not so much. Last 18 months, not so much. But before that, most definitely 5 to 6 days a week.
And so we were kind of chatting beforehand anyway about how the connection that we felt is sort of weight training and how it improves or helps your mental health. So do you feel that it's helped you, like it's give you that kind of, sometimes we do it for aesthetics,
Yeah.
sometimes we do it for our heads.
Yeah.
So do you feel that works for you?
Do you want a bit of a story about what's been going on recently? And it kind of connects to that question.
Yeah, yeah, go for it.
Not in a very healthy relationship of 6 years. And my picture that I took last March showed it. I was about 86 kilos. So I was I'd put on a lot of weight. Due to the stress of the bad relationship. Last April, I lost my mum. April the 9th. She had dementia. She lived in Spain. Very sad, but it was kind of a relief in a sense for my dad. So we was dealing with that. And then May the 11th, we found my eldest son passed in his flat. This was only 4 weeks apart, hence being in a really tough time in a relationship that I was in. My world fell apart, as you couldn't imagine. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And not being consistent with my training at that time, it was it was two paths. And I'm not going to lie, there was drink. I just wanted to forget. I just wanted to self-medicate. I wanted to be with my son. And it got to a real high point that I needed to get out of this house. I needed to get out. I needed to clear my head. I needed to just be out of this house and out of the situation I was in to kind of find some clarity. So I turned up at my father's address in Spain with 2 pictures of my son, no underwear, no, no thought process went into it at all. And I came out of Sittingbourne. I went to Spain. I started training. The weather was lovely. Joined a gym. I even bought a bike. I was there 6 weeks. So I cycled back, eating completely clean, literally changed everything that I was doing. And I felt fabulous. It was great. I needed that. Came back after 6 weeks and like I came here and it was the same thing again. It was like, right, I need to do. I come back and I got back into the gym and I've trained consistently, probably since Christmas, maybe November. And it's saved my life. It's saved my life. It's something that I do every day. It's something for my mental health. Some days I don't want to do it. Some days I want to stay in bed and cry. And I'm not saying that weightlifting is made my journey better, because I'm on this journey without any choice. I've got no choice. But then couple of hours in the gym, it for me, it helps me process emotions, which I'm going through millions day by day. It helps me clear some things in my head, even get some anxiety out and anger, getting them heavy lifts in. You know, it's like, yeah, it's like a punch bag in a sense. And it boosts me for that 2 hours. And then, even though my day hasn't changed, my son's still not here, I'm going through the rest of the day slightly lifted. I don't really know how to express it. It doesn't take away my pain, but it softens it in a sense.
So how do you feel, right? That,
yeah,
like, 'cause obviously there's a lot of different exercises that women could turn to, but how do you feel weight training is different to what does weight training give you that maybe cardio wouldn't, or Zumba wouldn't, or
number one, if we go down the aesthetic side, shape. Shape. I've always been into like the athletic kind of look anyway, which is what I like. I don't know, the feeling of lifting something heavy, or it applies when you come home. You can do stuff that you didn't normally do. You can take that lid off the jar. You can, do you know what I mean? It applies to everything. You know, I mean, I've carried a fridge out from my kitchen. I'm not saying that every woman's going to do that, but I didn't need a man. Go on.
No, I was going to say, so you said that it was like, you feel that it saved you, and
I was
throwing
so
yourself.
glad, Jill, that I had it implemented in my life before the tragedy. Because I know what makes me feel good. I know what gets me through the day, because I've done it many years before. I've used weight training through my mental health before, you know, what life throws at you. And it helped me before, and I knew it would help me again. So I was quite lucky enough to, when I did, because we're all going to go through tough times. And I can't express enough how much I was so glad that I was lifting before.
Yeah, so you had that little bit of background.
Yeah.
You knew, I suppose, the benefits. So obviously, you know, we don't all have good days, bad days. We've spoke about motivation before. So how do you, on those tough days, how do you find the willpower to be consistent, to be motivated? You know, that word motivated that everyone's waiting for.
Yeah, we all want to be motivated in the morning. People assume when you're lifting long, and you do visually have a physique where you take the time out to lift, people think we jump out and better go, yes, let's go to the gym. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen to me. And I'm sure, and I've spoken to you and I've spoken to other women that train, it doesn't happen. You have to push through them days. Like most them days that I'm not motivated and it's raining and I don't want to do it, or as again, I want to lie in bed and cry, I push myself. All the way there, I'm making every goddamn excuse that I can think of not to do it. And then I get there and I give it a go. And 9 times out of 10, I probably get the best workout, the best one. And sometimes I don't get the best workout. I've done a workout. And I know that feeling it gives me. And I know that if I don't go, I know how I'm going to feel. So you've got to remember, how is this going to make me feel? No, I don't want to go today. It's consistency, Jill. Consistency covers the whole motivation, all that down here. One big umbrella of consistency.
So it's just, you know, I say to a lot of my clients, some days you're just ticking the box. You're just ticking that box. Yeah, I did that, or I did the walk, or I did whatever it is on your plan.
Yeah.
But so have you, like, for me, when I get up, I know I get up, I get ready, I go, I do it, right?
Yeah.
So it's a non-negotiable. It's a habit. So do you feel that that's kind of how you're approaching it? You've got into a habit of going at a particular time?
Yeah, I do go at a particular time. And if I don't get to go at that time, it throws me. but I still go because you have the different people there and everything's, I don't know, it just throws you because you have that mentality of going at the same time. But yeah, it's doing a little bit. As I say, even if you're going there for 5 minutes and you really, really don't want to do it, come back, write it off for the day, get up the next morning and we go again. Don't let that be the down spiral of, oh, I didn't do it yesterday, I might as well not do it today. And I've done it. We've all done the diets, we've done the binge eating, we've done, oh, I'm not going to train. Just wipe it off. Don't, if you come off the wagon or whatever you do with the training, jump back on. Tomorrow's a new day. Always a new day.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, don't let that shit day turn into the shit week, the month.
Well, we've done it. I've turned one into a whole weekend of binge and not training. I've done it 1,000 times. Honestly, it's totally normal, I think, anyway.
So would you say then that, like, if there's anyone out there that's really kind of struggling,
yeah,
what advice would you give them? Like, if there's, obviously we want people to listen, and maybe if there's the 50-year-old woman that maybe knows that she should be doing something for her future self, but she's scared to start.
Well, don't join a gym and look on social media. I'm sorry, I have to say this. And just look at exercises because it's so confusing. And it's
the minefield out there.
Oh, it's so confusing. And you've got people that are doing things wrong, that building a physique through the compound heavy lifts and then doing these silly little things and saying, I've got my body to do by doing these. They didn't. Have a plan. Find someone who's going to teach you the basics. The basics. Don't go in and you see all these young girls and doing all these weird things on rowing machines and abs on rowing machines, and God knows it is a minefield. But find somebody, have a plan, and have someone who's going to teach you the basic moves, because the basic moves require core, require your back to be perfect, require certain ways before you actually lift a weight. And I'm not talking about heavy. We need to be doing this when we're lifting light, and then that will help you do the rest of the other little bits that you want to do. But the compound movements, find someone who knows what they're doing, have a plan, and get them to teach you these moves. Because once you establish them moves and know how to hold your core, know how to do a deadlift, you will imply that in everything you do, and then you'll save injury, and you know what you're doing. You find it and you'll know what you're doing, because I find knowledge is a real scary fear, because they just go in, what do I do? Find someone who can support you with that.
Yeah, definitely. Learn the fundamentals, learn the basics.
Oh,
yeah.
gosh, yeah.
Totally live by that.
Yeah.
So as well, with obviously, you've had to deal with so much in this last, year?
Yeah, it's just over a year now. Yeah.
So if there's someone that's maybe struggling with coming to terms, I mean, with the stuff that you've gone through, what advice would you give them?
It's so hard, because it's coming to terms with it. I think we all grieve differently. And for me personally, it's one way or the other. It's such a loss that I couldn't explain. Find help. I mean, I've obviously done grief counselling. But don't, I find these doctors, like, I've been to the doctor, oh, here's antidepressants. I'm not depressed. I've lost my son, and I'm not going to be put on a list to say you need antidepressants. The anxiety I had coming back from Spain, because I hadn't been in a gym for so long because of the relationship that I was in, and going back to the gym was tough for me. Even as confident as I come across was tough because I was a bit bigger, and but once you get in there, it so helps with anxiety, so and your confidence, and just being around people that I can talk to, you know, the whole aspect of it, the social side to it. And there was days I don't want to go anywhere because it's so hard, because nobody knows what to say to you, Jill, and I get it. It's such a big loss, and it affects other people, and no one knows what to say. But make that choice. Do it for you. It's something that's going to be so heavy. Just find healthy ways to make it slightly a bit lighter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I think as well, as you say, people totally don't know what to say, because I think we're always frightened of saying the wrong thing. And maybe, I don't know if it's an English thing as well, like we are kind of like, oh, don't say, oh, blah, blah, blah. But I think being in the gym environment, there's a common denominator, isn't there?
Yeah.
So
even some people in the gym didn't want to come up and speak to me, but I openly talk about him because that helps me.
But I think as well, it's easy to sort of say, oh, Kelly, pass me the dumbbells, or Kelly, oh, you're doing shoulders today, or so there's almost like if there's that other subject to talk about. There's not an elephant in the room kind of thing.
But it's nice because I want the small talk. I want that kind of interaction. I don't want to totally have to express everything I feel each time. And I do have certain people for that. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I went into the new gym, and there's a few people that I know, but not completely very well. And I came to the gym. I didn't want to go, and I turned up, and it was the anniversary of my son's death. And someone asked how I was, and I just went, blah, blah, blah. This happened, and they all looked at me, Jill, like, okay. And I looked at them, and I thought, oh God, what have I said? No one knows how to approach me. So it gets like that. That's how it gets. And I think you need to be in an environment where you can explore that. In a different gym, I know people a lot longer. I have some friends in there that I've known for years. So it's, it's different. But I've blurted it all out, and totally, they didn't know what to do, bless them. I did apologise a few days later.
Well, I feel embarrassed because I did exactly the same, and my son had gone to university, and someone asked me how he was, and I absolutely broke down like a baby. But you said about like the anxiety and stuff, and like I put a post out yesterday just about menopause post. It was just about because I did a blog on my website, and it was oh, it's not you, it's your hormones. And as we know, like anxiety, depression, all these things sort of do affect women anyway of our age, due to hormones, whether it be perimenopause, menopause. So I suppose in a sense, I suppose what I'm saying is I try to encourage women to work out, because I don't think until they do, they realize how much of a help it is with those things, with the whole lifting your mood, the anxiety, the depression. And I think really as well, weight training seems to do that the best. So I know obviously you're saying anxiety because of your grief, but it works for...
I think with me, it wasn't just anxiety with the grief. I think with me, because obviously I'm coming up to perimenopausal and I've had symptoms too, but grieving and the symptoms, I couldn't work out where it was coming from. So I didn't know if it was, it's because I've lost my son, or I didn't know if it's I've coming up, my period's a bit whiff and stuff like that. So it was hard to identify it, but it's so hard. It's hard to explain, to get past that barrier, to just push. And headphones on, Jim, that's my space. This is my space. Nobody's looking at you. Nobody cares. Nobody's worried what you look like. Get that headspace on. This is for you. You've got to really be selfish and do for you, because, we don't care about other people's opinions. It's about you.
So I don't know if you can hear that. My dog's dreaming.
That's right. Mine's snoring next to me, so that's fine.
It's having a dream.
It's a horse anyway. It's not a dog. It's a horse.
So what else I wanted to ask you was goals. So I get a lot of clients come to me and they go, I want to lose this, do that, right? And I say, okay, hold on a second.
Yeah, put them back.
Let's just take that back a little bit and just break that little goal down, like that big goal down into this little, because setting ourselves like these huge unachievable goals and then feeling awful that we haven't achieved them as such. So I know, because obviously we've spoken before, there's a little goal that you're going for.
There is. There's well, for me, it's more of the focus, and it gets me through a day-to-day thing. But me and my eldest son, who passed, I've always wanted to do a figure competition. Always the heels put me off, but anyway, and he used to say to me, "Mum, do it." And my other son wasn't really like that, but he said, "Mum, do it. You can do it." And I've decided to do it for my son. So I now have a coach. So someone's telling me what to do. And I've never done anyone else's training program, which I'm doing with that. Obviously, because certain parts of the body need to be brought up more. So there's different ways of training. But I'm going to do a figure show, and I'm going to do it for my son. So, yeah.
I'm so impressed and excited. I'm so going to be in that front row.
You're going to laugh because my heels.
There's a little banner.
My heels came this morning. I swear they're huge. So I'm too frightened to even try them on. But it's and for me, I know it's not everybody's goal. But for me, it's every day I train. But now I'm focusing on a safer way to train. I used to just give it an outlet, like, this is my time. I'm just going to do what I want to do. But I'm focused on nutrition, how much water I drink, how many steps I have a day, what vitamins I'm using, make sure the before and after training meals are around that time. And every single day I'm constantly thinking. So I'm constantly thinking, have I ate that? Have I done this? And he's there looking at me in the picture. I love him. I talk to him all the time. But it gives me that focus. I'm not actually back at work yet till next month. So every day is a focus for me, and it saves me. It puts me in a place where, right, what do I need to do today to get to this goal? I'm going to die when I'm going to need, because I know it gets worse. I'm probably going to need chocolate and I won't be allowed to have none. And it's for Reg, and I think it's for my mental health, for Reg.
Do you think that this is, like, as you said, this goal is more about a focus for you to kind of take it and run with it? I mean, a lot of maybe people listening, their goal maybe just to, I don't know, like maybe just lose a few pounds or just to start weight.
My goal is obviously different to others, but throughout my years of training, I've had goals of, I want to do a pull-up. I want to get to do one pull-up. So I've done everything I need to get to that pull-up. I now can do 3 sets of 10 pull-ups. But this is over the course of time. This is, push-ups. I want to be able to do something in the house. I want to be able to walk up the stairs. These are the little goals, the tiny little ones that all accumulate into that big one. This for me it's a very selfish sport, bodybuilding, but it takes up so much time of my day, and that's what I need at the minute, in a sense. Do you know what I mean?
I get that.
I get that.
So as I said, for some of my clients, I do try to always push the performance goals, rather than the weight loss goals, because I think, the weight loss goal, if you focus on the performance goals, the weight loss goals happen.
They happen, and the less you focus on it, they happen quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
The more you focus on it and torture yourself, especially with muscle and body composition, you know, BMI. I'm obese.
Oh,
BMI.
me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
And then I've lost weight, but my shoulders are bigger, so there's no going down in the dress size because I'm still up because my shoulders are out here. But it's like I've been 11 stone and I fitted into a size 10, and I've got someone who I knew who was 11 stone and was a size 14. So it's not about the weight.
No, it's about body
so not about the weight. It's really not. It's about having more muscle. I'm not saying muscle weighs heavier than fat because it doesn't, but it's more condensed and it gives you that leaner look. I never forget a friend of mine said, you know, your arms are massive. And I went, wait there. So I've come out and I've got my tape measure and I've measured my arm. And I said, let me measure yours. Hers was 2 inches bigger. And she couldn't believe it because I've got a great big bicep or whatever. And she obviously hasn't, but it's an illusion.
Yeah. But it's a nice illusion.
But I'm actually not.
So just like some final thoughts, maybe words of advice. If anyone is maybe struggling with grief, life in general, and they just think that maybe they need to improve their mental health, what advice would you give them?
Find someone who knows what they're doing. Find someone who has experience with our age group, with hormones, with hormones that come into play, and just general. I mean, muscle's longevity. Muscle's an organ that we can manipulate. We can make it grow. We can make it stronger. It helps with our bones. I've got like a 3-story townhouse. You know, it just helps in so much day-to-day life, and the confidence. Once you start getting in there, and you're not going to see things visually straight away, but you feel it inside. You feel, yeah, I've done that. I've achieved that. What else can I do?
Yes.
And I always found that, okay, you don't have to eat the way I eat, obviously, because I'm in a competition. But after you start training for a while, then I started looking into my nutrition after, because I'm like, I've just put all that work in. Why do I want to eat that? So
it's a mindset thing, isn't it? Yeah, it's a mindset.
Yeah. My nutrition has never been. I love a bit of chocolate, so it's never been on point. And it looks like it's on point, but it's never been on point, which is why I have accountability at the moment for my goal. But yeah, it helps so much. Healthy body, strong mind.
I think as well, even if it all sounds scary, because obviously you're way ahead in your journey. For someone that maybe is just thinking about it, even just thinking about years to come, they're 40, 50 now, and they're thinking, okay, well, how am I going to be when I'm 60 or 70? You know, we were talking about exercises the other day, and for some people it's as simple as starting with just getting up and sitting down and getting up and sitting down unaided. But a lot of people have to hold on to do that stuff. And if that's how you are at 50, how are you going to be at 60? How are you going to be at 70? Like, so I think, you know, even if you can implement just a few small things, just to maybe gain your confidence to then go on to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just, you know, there's so many things at home you can do, body weight and things like that to push yourself. You're not going to go in and start throwing these great big weights around. You know, you get someone who's going to help you with all sorts of areas. It's you know, not just the weight training with body weight. As I said, you know, I'm a PT and I don't PT anymore, but we had small goals with a girl, and I took a video of her doing her first push-ups on her first day, and she could do 3 that were on her knees barely. within a year, 3 sets of 10, Jill, perfect. Do you know what I mean? Them goals like that, and she's like, wow, I couldn't believe it. And you know, some people look at me like, oh, I don't want to be that big. You're not. We're all individual. Where I can't stress this enough, because people come up, they go, oh, I want to lift, but I don't want to be as big as you. We're all different genetically. We can't go any more than
I do.
Yeah.
I want those legs. Can you believe I've been training for like 20 years? My legs are still like little stick legs.
Do you know what? It's funny because I know I'm getting back in shape, because I had 2 little boys up the high street go, oh, look at that geezer bird. And I thought to myself, I'm doing something right. But everyone seems to think because you've got muscles, you want to fight them. I'm just like, I just want muscles. I don't want to fight anyone.
So,
go on.
So to wrap this up, where can people follow your journey?
Well, I've got my Instagram. I'll leave my Instagram. I haven't put any pictures up yet. My journey is to do a cut first, and then being my competitive side, Jill. I want to have someone to look at me and say, right, where can we improve? And then I'm going to go into a build, and I'm hoping maybe the end of the year to early next year. So I would love people if they wanted to follow me on my journey. I don't know if I say it on here or you want to write it.
Yeah, you can say it, and I can write it as well.
Yeah, so it's weights 50 finding my peace. And I'm on Instagram, and yeah, it would be lovely for people. I'd love to inspire women, just to, you know, it doesn't have to be my goal, but just to be stronger. All women should lift. All women should lift. All women.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
It's something that I've been saying for like God knows how many years. Before it was trendy, let's put it that way. Before, when I would say it and people would go like, what?
Yeah. Well, I remember going to the old school gyms of all the chalk and all the big burly men, and I kind of go in now and I look at it's TikTok. It's just like, what's going on? Everyone's half naked and I don't know what they're doing. But yeah, find the strength, if you have to have counseling. But this stuff gets me through the worst part of my life. And it's gonna, the feeling I'm gonna get going on that stage, I'm probably gonna bawl my eyes out.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it for him, and I'm surviving his death, and I'm sure he'll be up there saying, go on mum.
I think there's the message here is the fact that there's probably a hell of a lot of people that have maybe gone through something awful like this, and can't see a way forward.
And we're all going to do at some point. We're all going to, you always think it doesn't happen to you. Don't wait for something like this to happen. Go in and get your mind ready and strong and confident for when this life gives us curveballs, because we're all going to get them. And hopefully that foundation you've built and that confidence you've built already will help you through the stuff that, is the toughest.
Kelly, you've been an absolute inspiration talking to you today. And, obviously we've had our little chats before, and I cannot wait to see you in heels. I want a preview of that.
I think you should come to my show.
I will, let me tell you.
It's a local one. I'm going to get the Ashbys. I'm going to get them all together. And we're just going to have a good day. And I'm going to do my best. But it's nice. And a lot of people say, you've talked about things that I wouldn't talk about. I want to inspire women. I want to inspire women that, we're strong. We can do things on our own. We can feel good, and we can beat this poxy menopause. There's things that you can put in place, and there's things that you can do to help. And one of them is strength training, the main one.
Yeah, exactly. And I even in my experience, and I think, I said we spoke about this again, but like, I don't know. I think with the whole menopause thing, the hardest thing, and you kind of touched on that as well, about like the anxiety and stuff.
Yeah.
I think you're forever questioning yourself.
All the time.
Oh, I just feel so anxious, or brain fog, this, that.
It's so hard because we wake up and I don't feel like it's my body. I feel like I'm in somebody else's body. I don't know when my monthlies are coming. I don't know what's going on. Do you know what I mean? Normally you kind of know, and you're thrown into a whole different, like, why am I like this? Why is this? And it's been harder for me because I don't know if I'm like it because of the situation that's happened to me, or menopause. It's really difficult, but
I think a lot of women can relate to that. Like, because even for me, I was like, oh my God, like so down in the dumps. I can remember saying to my partner, like, it's like, well, you know, what, are you upset? Are you this? Are you that? And I was like, no, I'm nothing. I'm nothing. I'm not down or up. I'm kind of coasting around this middle grey area that I don't feel myself. But I don't know how different I would have been if I hadn't have got myself up every morning and gone to the gym. Because when I do work out, I walk out and I'm taller, and I'm
your shoulders are back, you're taller, and you can, I'm not saying it's complete, but you can face things better. Do you know what I mean? Things that come at you, just face it differently, with a little bit of a different attitude. Or, you know, I went to the doctor, menopause, here's some antidepressants. I'm not depressed. You know, I don't want antidepressants. They just seem to fire them on you, you know, but it's so underrated. Weightlifting is just underrated. I'm telling you, it's got to do it.
It is just one of those things, and you just hope that things like this, like what we're doing, what we're chatting about, will kind of just keep on pushing that out there, because I've people that don't exercise don't understand, and I wish every woman could just have that feeling and be like, oh wow, okay,
I'd like to bottle it.
We're worth a fortune,
and we could be millionaires. Because
exactly.
Again, I've trained this morning. I've come back. I've got things to do. I've energy. I'm I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and it sets me up for the day.
Yep, me too. I did this morning, did my workout. So thank you so much for today.
You're so welcome. And if I've inspired anybody, get out there, ladies, and start strength training.
Yeah, lift something heavy, yeah?
Yeah. And you're going to feel badass. At the end of the day, you're going to feel badass. I'm sorry, that's the only word for it.
It's true. And watch this space. Because we can revisit this as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. So keep an eye on me. It's a goal that I'm going to do, and it'll be wonderful.
I can't wait. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Jill. See you later.